What the heck is wrong with recalibration? It needs fixing. If you want to find out how to fix it, well, today I'm going to tell you my opinion and why I think recalibration needs a tweak. Esiva, this is LaserBolt, and today we're going to be talking about recalibration. Yes, guys, recalibration and why it definitely needs to be fixed ASAP. Now, for those of you who might be new to the division, I know a lot of you guys are going to be pretty new because it's going to be free to everyone on June the 13th. So a lot of people are going to be hopping in here, and we're going to be talking about recalibration for all of you guys who aren't new and also for all of you guys who have been playing the game. And one of my biggest pet peeves with the game right now is the recalibration station and the way it works. So let me give you guys a quick, brief idea of how it works in case you've never used it or you have used it and don't understand it. And then I'm going to tell you guys exactly what I believe that needs to be changed ASAP to make this game a little bit more replayable and actually worth the grind. Now, if you guys agree with me that the recalibration system needs to be changed, make sure you guys hit that like button. If you agree, if you disagree, hit the dislike button. In addition to that, guys, let's try to share this video. Let's try to make sure Massive pays attention to us. And, you know, they've been pretty good at actually hearing the feedback of the community. So the more retweets, the more shares this video gets, the more likelihood we'll get at least some of these changes brought into the Division 2. So hopefully you guys can help me out in that way. So let's go ahead and get started with a recal. So when it comes to recalibration, you're going to be mostly able to recalibrate everything currently in the game. When I say everything, I mean that you're able to recalibrate a weapon and of course your gear. Now, the way it works right now, let's say you want to recalibrate this this AR, right? The only thing you're able to recal in this AR is talents. That's the only thing that you're able to do within this AR. That's mostly for your weapons. Now, for gears, you have a little bit more of a chance because you're not only able to recalibrate attributes, but you're also able to recalibrate talents. Now, currently, the way it works is if I want to recalibrate an attribute, I'm able to recalibrate that attribute. But once I invest in that attribute, I am no longer able to recalibrate any other attribute found in that gear. In addition to that, if I want to change the talent, I could go ahead and change the talent in that gear. Now, when you're new to the game, the recalibration system actually makes sense and it works for you. But the biggest problem is when you get to the end game. Because in the end game, everybody's looking for a god roll. And when I say god roll, that means that you want every single attribute to be the highest level you could possibly get it to. And you want to have the right talents. Right now, we're going to be focusing on gear, and then I'm going to be talking about changes I want to see in the weapon recalibration. Now, you're probably wondering, Laser, what is the problem that you see with the recalibration? Well, the problem that I see is that the whole point of you playing the game and trying to get multiple pieces of loot is because you want to get a piece of loot that has a max roll for a specific attribute. So let's say you want a max roll for health, you're going to grind a lot in order to get that max roll for health. And that's nothing wrong with that. You want to be grinding for that max health attribute, right? And you're going to be faced with one problem. And this is what I think is hurting the game in the sense of making the game not grind worthy. The reason is the following. So let's say I have a backpack that I fell in love with, right? Let's say I fell in love with this Gilligard. I love this backpack. I love the talents that it has. I think it has god roll talents, and I'm really happy and excited for this, for this backpack. But let's see, my health, as you guys see right now, it's really low, 6,520. I want to get this to the max. Let's say the max is 50,000 health, right? Let's say I find a backpack with that 50,000 health. I'm able to recalibrate that into the backpack, which I'm happy with. But the problem is that my backpack will never get to be a god roll because my critical hit chance is not maxed out. My armor is not maxed out. And that is the problem we have with the recalibration. I may be happy with my talents, but if I want to get a god roll for the backpack, I have to be super duper lucky that I at least get 2 attributes that are already god rolls and pray to find another god roll for the specific attribute that's not god roll and infuse it into that backpack. And that's without saying that I'm happy with the backpack I currently have. So that's the problem I see with the current state of the game. Now, right now we're going to talk about gear, and this is what I would like to see changed, and I would definitely love if Massive would actually make this change in the recalibration station. So once again, let's take a look at this backpack. So I'm really excited for this backpack. I love it. I love the attributes. I love everything about it, but my attributes suck. They're really, really bad. I want to have God tier, right? So first, let's start off. I'm recalibrating, remember, the 50,000 backpack that I found for health. I recalibrate into that backpack. Now my backpack has 50,000 health. So now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be grinding the game, trying to get as much runs into missions, into invaded missions, into the raid, to find another backpack that has max stats for critical hit chance. And when I find that backpack, I want to be able to recalibrate that critical hit chance into that backpack, because I want to make my backpack a god roll. So what I would do is level up my backpack so I could go ahead and input another attribute. So the backpack would technically be 3 levels. 1 level for one attribute, 2 levels for another attribute, 3 levels for another attribute. So each time I want to recalibrate a specific attribute, I'm going to have to level up my backpack. Now, let's say I already recalibrated the critical hit chance, I recalibrated the health. Now I want to look for a backpack that has max armor, because I want to make sure that this backpack is max rolled with armor. So it's back to the grind, back for me to RNG and try to pray that I'm able to find a backpack that has max armor stats. Now, making this simple change will allow me to actually get a god roll backpack eventually. It doesn't mean that I'm going to get one once I pick one up. It just means that I have to grind and get a lot of loot and do a lot of playing over and over, because I'm able to actually get a god roll backpack. But the problem right now is, regardless of what you do, there's going to be like at least maybe 1% of everybody playing the division right now has a god roll, due to the fact that you have to be extremely lucky to get 2 maximum attributes and being able to infuse another maximum attribute to get a god roll. And it's very unlikely that it's going to happen. And this tends to throw people off, because there's no way you could min-max your build due to the fact that you cannot input multiple attributes into one piece of gear. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Well, if they do this, then a lot of people will stop playing the game, because once they get their god roll, then they'll just stop playing the game. And that is entirely incorrect, because remember, in order for you to actually get builds in this game, you have to get enough blues, enough reds, and enough yellows. That's the only way that you're able to use specific talents for your gear, that you're able to use specific talents for your, for whatever build you have. If you want a skill build, if you want a health build, a damage build, then you're going to have to find specific gear that actually give you that, red, that blue, and that yellow. So you're going to be having to farm a lot in order to get each piece to be a god roll. But right now, there is absolutely no way that you could get anything like a mask, a backpack, a holster, knee pads, gloves, or anything like that. You could not get it into a god roll unless you get a drop with 2 maximum attributes. This becomes very difficult, and I believe that's one of the reasons that people have kind of laid back on the game, due to the fact that the rewards at the end game do not benefit the amount of hours you're going to spend on trying to get a max roll. Now let's talk about the weapons. Now with the weapons, I believe that this is something that the community would definitely fall in love with, and it's going to make their grinding experience much beneficial to them when they're doing it. The reason is because right now the way the system works is when you go to a weapon, you're able to kind of recalibrate the talent. So you're able to move one talent from one specific weapon type to another weapon type. But I believe that this recalibrating system for the weapons is lackluster, due to the fact that I want to do a little bit more recalibration to my weapon. Let's say I have this P416 and I'm in love with it. I love the talents that it has. I already recalibrated a talent, which I moved Optimist to here. But my problem is that my damage is extremely low. There's no way I could get more damage in this weapon unless I find another weapon with more damage. And then what's going to happen there? That weapon might not have the talents that I want, or it might just have one talent that I want, and I'm only able to recalibrate one talent. So there's no way I could ever get a god roll with a huge amount of damage unless RNG gives it to me in a drop. And this makes it very difficult for the community, especially for those people who don't have long hours to play and grind out, Dark Zone or do the raid over and over to get good rolls. The reason is because you have to be really lucky to actually get that god roll. What I would like to see changed is the kind of what they did with the gear. Currently right now with the gear, you're able to put in an attribute and you're able to keep maxing out that attribute until it hits 100%. I would like to see that added to the weapons. I would like to see us being able to recalibrate damage into a specific weapon. So let's say, for example, my weapon right now is at 17.2k. So let's say I find a weapon that's at 17.8. Well, with my recalibration system, I'm able to go to this weapon and recalibrate that additional 6 into my weapon. So I'm able to put in that 6, so my weapon will turn into 17.8. Now, in addition to that, there's also going to be a recalibration score that would only allow me to put a certain amount of damage to that particular weapon. It's going to let me max it out if I find the right weapons, but if I don't, I'm only able to max it out to a specific number. Because currently right now the way it is I'm only able to recalibrate talents, and I'm only able to recalibrate whatever damage the weapon has. For example, this one has health damage 29. That's the only thing I'm able to recalibrate with this weapon. I would like to be able to recalibrate the damage due to the fact that that's going to allow me to grind it out, look for more ARs that have higher damage so I can recalibrate that damage into that weapon. And finally, being able to get my God roll. I think this would change the recalibration system completely and will allow everybody to get their God roll, in addition to that, making the game a little bit more farmable. Now, there's a couple other tweaks I would do to make players more incentivized to come back into the game and keep grinding it, to make sure that they keep updating their God rolls. And this is what I currently believe is wrong with the recalibration system. There is no way I could recalibrate my God roll, because I could only my recalibration is very limited, and I do not like to be limited, especially when I'm trying to get a really good piece of gear to be as perfect as I want it to be. This game is a loot and shooter, and yes, I have to loot, but I also want to make sure that when I loot, I'm being able to get the best gear I could possibly get. Unfortunately, right now, that is not happening. But now it's time for you guys to go in the comment section down below and let your voice be heard. Let me know, what do you guys think of my idea of changing the recalibration system? Do you like the concept that I planned out, or would you guys like to see something different? Let me know that in the comment section down below. Don't forget, guys, we want to make sure that this video gets noticed due to the fact that we want to see recalibration changes, and I think it's going to bring more people in, and it's going to bring people who might have left the game because they feel a little bit lackluster loot drop, making it more accessible to people who play long periods of time, and also for people who don't have long hours to play. It gives them an incentive to just look for a specific piece and focus on that specific piece to get it as maxed out as they can. They can move on to another piece after they get their min-max piece completed. I do hope you guys found this video helpful and enjoyable. If you did, guys, do me the huge favor. Drop a like on this video. Share this video with your friends. And if you are new to the channel, first time ever watching the channel, make sure you subscribe. If you do consider hitting that notification bell so you guys can stay up to date to all things The Division 2. If you're already a sub, make sure you double check that your notification bell is ticked so you could also get notified when Division 2 videos go live as well. In addition to that, guys, if you want to show additional love and support, consider joining the Bolt Nation. Super easy to join. All you got to do is click the little blue button right next to the subscribe button in the video down below and enter your chance to win exclusive giveaways every month. In addition to that, to exclusive features only found in the channel. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget WGATAP, and I will catch you guys on the next video.